Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, which is Nedarim Daf Mem Aleph. We are on Mem Amid Beis, 3 lines from the bottom of the Amid. Amar of Ami Amar Av. Here comes another lesson from the same Manda Amar as before. So some actually Aguris before as well. Amar of Ami Amar Av. In any case, my Dechsiv, how do you explain the pasuk in Yecheskel? Yecheskel, who was instructed by Hashem to conduct a mini golus as an advanced demonstration of what can befall Klal Yisrael if they do not do teshuvah. V'ata ben adam, selecha klei goyla, prepare for yourself utensils for basic essentials to take with yourself to golus. What are these basic kelim? Zuneir u'ka'ara v'shatiach, a lamp, a candle holder, a ka'ara, a kneading bowl, v'shatiach, leather mat upon which to sit and eat and sleep. The pasuk in the Teichacha warns Klal Yisrael if they go into Golus, they'll have nothing. U'b'choyser koil, they'll be lacking everything. Amrab Ami Amarav, what is this including? They'll be lacking basic needs, basic essentials. B'lei ner u'b'lei shulchan, without a ner or a shulchan. Rav Chizdan b'lei isha, they'll be single, unmarried. Rav Sheshes Amar b'lei shamas, without a servant, or some aguris. B'lei shemesh, without sunlight. They will not experience, they will not have the hana. They will not be able to appreciate sunlight. In fact, Rav Sheshes, as we know, was blind, so he had a true appreciation for light that he was missing. Rav Nachman Amar b'lei deya, b'chayser kol means you won't have basic necessities, and what is the most basic need of a person? Deya, das, yishav das, a balanced mindset, able to focus and concentrate and conduct a calculated lifestyle. Tana, we have an abraisa. What does b'chayser koil mean? They'll be lacking everything, even the most basic needs. B'lei melach, b'lei ravav, no salt, no fat for use for cooking. Amar Abai, in Aktinan we have a Kabbalah, a tradition. Ein ani el b'deya. Who is a true ani? One who is lacking deya, lacking the ability to have yishav adas, to use his intellect and control his midas. His desires run amok. He doesn't have that ability to control, to direct, to channel his feelings in the right direction. He's lacking das. That is the true ani. Because when a person can have everything, these are externals. And if he's not internally tranquil and focused and satisfied, what is it all worth? So internal satisfaction is what it's all about. And that comes about through deya, a focused mindset, and which allows you to lead a balanced lifestyle. B'marava Amri, in Eretz Yisrael, they would present the following quote, the following phrase. The da be, when a person has da, this, meaning das, is found within a person, kula be. He's got it all. He has everything. He has that internal tranquility. That's what it's all about. The loy da be, when da, this, meaning das, is not to be found within him, he's lacking this most basic, essential ingredient. Mabe, what does he have? What good are all his acquisitions, possessions, and properties? And the Mepharshim say, because you can have it all, but if you don't have das, don't know how to direct everything that you own and use it properly, what good do those things provide? Da kani, when a person acquires da, Marsha says this is a reference to a person who perhaps was not born with das. It's not natural, but he sought to acquire. He put that effort to b'koina das ma'choser. Now he has everything. What does he lack? Da loikani. However, if he did not make that effort to acquire das, ma'kani. What does he have? What good are all his acquisitions if they can't be run properly. Omar Rabbi Alexandri Omar B'chibar Abba Eina Choyle Oimid B'Cholyo. Back to the sugya of Bikkur Cholim. When a Choyle recovers from his illness, it is the biggest indication. It only happens when in Shemayim they forgive all his sins. Shenamar Salech l'chol avinaychi, haroifei l'chol tachalu oichi. So refuas hachoyle, refuas haguf, is really the end result of refuas hanefesh, as the Mefarshim explain. And that's exactly why we say refu'enu after we say slach lanu, because what precipitates a physical illness? It's rooted in a spiritual ailment, in a slight spiritual deviation, which triggers that unwellness within the nefesh, which goes ahead and subsequently brings about a choli haguf. How do we reverse that situation? How do we remedy the choli haguf? As we say in the Mishnah Berach, refuas hanefesh or refuas haguf. And the Mefarshim explain because refuas haguf is dependent upon fixing up that nefesh, doing teshuvah and acquiring mechila. So in fact, when a person does recover from an illness, that's the biggest indication that he's been cleansed. He's been atoned for. It was a mechilas avonis. And now he's born anew. As the Gemara says, Rav Nuna Amar Chayzer l'meilumav. He goes back to his days of youth. He's born again. He's refreshed. He's reinvigorated. The illness and its difficulties cleanse a person. And now he's made anew. Refreshed, remade. Shenema rutfash. There's that moisture back in his basar, basari minar, like in his youth. Yoshev l'mei lumav. The pasuk says, Kol mishkavoi hafachta b'cholya. During an illness, his entire arrangement, the whole mishkav, his bed, is just a reference to its entire configuration. It's all overturned and disrupted. Amar Rav Yosef, what does this mean? Loimar demeshakech limudei. During a person's illness, he can forget his learning. It affects him intellectually. In fact, Rav Yosef himself was speaking from personal experience, because Rav Yosef chalash. Rav Yosef, when he fell ill, apparently a serious illness, he forgot his learning. And what happened? Ahadri Abaye kamei. Abaye, his Talmud, restored his learning back to him. That explains what we say all over Shas. Rav Yosef. Oh, Rav Yosef heard something said in the Beis HaMedrash. He says, I don't remember this. Lo yishmieli hadosh shmata. This shmata, I'm not familiar with it. Never heard it. And Amalei Abaye, his Talmud, Abaye tells him, what do you mean? Adam risa ni'alon. You yourself have taught this halacha to us. Umeyom asnita amrita ni'alon. And it was based on the following Mishnah, the following Brisa, which you presented as a source to this halacha. It came from you. So Abaye restored these halachas, and Rav Yosef was able to reacquire them again. On a similar vein, Ki havagame Rebbe Tlas Esrei Ape Hilchasa. When Rebbe HaKadosh, Rebbe Danasi, would learn his Mishnayos in 13 different ways. He had 13 different versions of Mishnayos. And the Maharsha says 13 is connected to 13 ways of learning. Yud Gimel Midos, Shatar and Dveshes. He says it's connected, corresponds to 13 Ikrei Hamuna, presented by the Rambam, and 13 Animamis. So 13 ways of learning. But he only taught Rabbi Chia 7 of them. Agmari, the Rabbi Chia, Shiva Minhaim. Rabbi taught Rabbi Chia only 7. The Soif, Chalash Rebbe. Turns out Rebbe got sick and he forgot his learning. Totally forgot everything. And what happened? How did he get it back? Ahade Rabbi Chia Kamei, Hanu Shiva Api. The Agmari. So Rabbi Chia had, those 7 tracks, and he related them back to Rebbe, who now relearned them. But the remaining 6, Shita, Ozdu, they got lost. But lucky enough, they had a tape recorder. Hava hu Katzra. There was this launderer, famous launderer, who used to hang around Rebbe and the Beis Medrash. Hava Shmile le Rebbe, Kedava Garslu. So he in fact attended the yeshiva every day, and he recorded in his mind everything that was learned there. Apparently he was a big Talmud Chacham, and he had all 13 versions embedded in his mind. So Rabbi Chia, Rebbe's Talmud, went and relearned and learned for the first. It was his first time. He learned those 6 versions from the Katra. Va'asa, and he returned. Va'ahadar yasorin kame Rebbe, and he restored them to Rebbe. So now Rebbe had all 13 versions of Mishnayos once again. Next time Rebbe saw this laundromat, this fellow walking down the street, Amalei, he turned to him with a title. He addressed him as Rebbe. Ata asisa, you have recreated. When one teaches, the Gemara says when you teach a B'nai shel chaver Torah kilu yolda, as if he gave birth, as if you made me, you created me. Oh, you see, v'eschia mi anchia, because you taught us all this Torah. So according to this lashon in the Gemara, Rebbe actually regarded the Katra as his personal Rebbe, even though the Katra was the one who gave it to Rabbi Chia, who then conveyed it to Rebbe, but ultimately it was sourced with the Katra, and Rebbe regarded him as a Rebbe, and he gave him kavod. According to the second version, was slightly different. Rebbe addressed him as follows: you have made Chia, you taught him that Torah. And Chia recreated me, but according to this version, Maral learns he didn't actually consider the Katra as his Rebbe because he didn't learn directly from the Katra, rather via Rabbi Chia. V'amar Rabbi Alexandri, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba. You're meant to know the greatness of recovering from an illness. Gadol nes shenasa l'choyle, the miracle that a choyle experiences when he recovers is even greater. Yoser min hanes shenasa l'chananyo Mishol v'Azarya. It's even greater than the nes occurring with Chananya, Mishol v'Azarya when they were spared that great fire in the time of Nebuchadnezzar, which was cooled off by the Malach Gavriel, the Sar Shalesh, who came down and cooled off the fire. A choyle who recovers experiences a nes even greater than that. How's that? Shel Chananya, Mishol v'Azarya. By them, it was merely Eish Shel Hedyet, a fire lit by a person, a natural fire. Anybody has the means to extinguish a fire via water, etc. So something external which can easily be extinguished, as opposed to the illness, the fever that a choyle experiences. That's internal. That's a real internal threat that has a power to destroy him internally. The fire, the heat experienced by a choyle shel shamayim, it comes from shamayim. Who can put it out? Sure, Hashem created, antibodies and antibiotics and all kinds of means and tools that the body uses to fight the infection, bacteria. But ultimately, if you break it down, the attacker is lethal. If left unattended, right? A person does not have the immune system, which gives him the ability to repel the germ, etc. He's in grave danger. So recovering from that type of attack is an even greater nes. Some say it was Amr Shomar Levi. Once a person's time comes, he can be affected by anybody. Anybody can rule over him and can take away his life. When Cain killed Hevel, he said, look, anybody now, once I'm condemned to death, anybody can control me, can kill me as a shliach of Hashem. Rav Amar min Haden Kra, this is sourced in the following pasuk. L'mishpatecha amdu hayom. Once a person was given a psak of misa through the yeshiva shalmala, ki'akol avadecha, everybody, anything, can serve as an agent of Hashem to take his life. Rabbi Bar Shila, so that was his name. Amrulay, they told him, Shachiv Gavra Gavoya. Shachiv Gavra. This person passed away, and he was so physically impressive. Gavoya Hava, he was a tall man. Rachiv Girduna Zutra, he was just merely, riding on this short donkey, and like an adult on a kid's bike. What can happen? Mata Tetura, when he arrived at the bridge, and he was enjoying the scenery, Istavit, suddenly, the donkey was gripped by some craze, and he flipped off the rider. Shadya, he flipped him into the into the water, and he passed away. Karel Nafshei, Rabbi Rashila, upon hearing this sad episode, he applied on him the pasuk, when time comes, nothing can get in the way. Even this peculiar incident can serve as a means of bringing about this result. Shmuel chaze lahu akrava. Shmuel notices this scorpion, Yasiva al akrukta, getting a piggyback ride, sitting on the back of a frog, of a nahara, and passing over the river in this manner. And he was watching to see what's going to happen. And he realized it was a heavenly arrangement. It was a whole system. Tarka Gavra, once the scorpion reaches the other side of the river, he struck a man, Umayis, who passed away. And he was amazed. Look what it takes. Scorpion getting a ride on the frog over the river, because it was meant to be. It was basheret that the person should be struck by this specific scorpion. Omar Shmuel, back to Bikur Chelim. One should be careful when he does Bikur Chelim. Do it with sensitivity, with feeling. So a person should not do Bikur Chelim unless only a person who experienced fever, an ordinary illness, where Bikur Chelim is appreciated and in place. Lafukuma, as opposed to which type of situation where you don't visit the sick man, in a case where it can cause him embarrassment and discomfort. Lafuki had the Sanya, the following brisa, Rabbi Yisrael Parto Imam Shalom Blazer, Ema Vakrun Lechilim. One should not visit the person who is suffering from internal, digestive disorders. Nor those who are chole ha'ayin, suffering from an iron illnesses or mechushe roish, some sort of headaches. Why? What's the difference? Don't visit this person because it can cause embarrassment as he's running in and out and taking care of his needs. What's wrong with the other fellows? Speaking talking is difficult, has a detrimental effect where a person has an eye issue. Actually, speaking is beneficial when we're speaking about a fever issue that lets him out, allows him to let out some steam. So in any case, tailor your visits in accordance with the needs of the chayla. If it's good for him, good. Otherwise, keep away. Amarav, on the topic of fever, he meant to know that high ishta, this fever that a chayla experiences, isn't really all bad. Ilav de parvanka, if not for the fact that it serves as an agent, the malacha the maisu of the malacha mavis, and can be very, very lethal. Really, it has some, internal, some element of goodness as well. Mali, it can be beneficial to a person like kichizra, like the thorns and the branches, ladikli, which surround the palm tree and protect it from intruders. So fever as well, sometimes it can, serve a person some good by cleansing his system, purifying his body, as long as it's just an occasional experience once in 30 days. It's also compared to like a potion, which is beneficial to one's body. Rav Nachman Britz like Omar, no, leave it alone. I don't need the fever and its benefit. It's a risky endeavor. Omar Rabba Bar Yonasan, Omar Vichil. Our son, this sort of grain potion, Yafa L'Chayla, little fuasa, it can be very beneficial in healing a person from his chayli. My arson, what exactly is this? Omar of Yonasan, Chushla, peeled grain, the Sariatik, the old barley grain. The Reish Nafya, which comes out of the sieve at first, it's the first thing out. Perhaps it's heavier, it's more laden with moisture, I'm not sure, but in any case, somehow it's very beneficial for a chayla. But in order for it to be really beneficial, it needs to be cooked, excessively cooked, like the ox's, like the cow's meat. Rav Yosef Amar, the arson is actually smidi, this aratik to the Reish Nafya, that's the fine flour of the old barley which comes out of the nafia first. Amar bayin b'shuluk, once again needs to be cooked properly. Amar b'yechna bur dam, this unfortunate physical ailment called bur dam. The Rashi says it's shulshul, loose bowels, and it's a bleeding, creates bleeding. Ema vakrim, these individuals should not be visited when they are experiencing their difficulties. Vein maskirin shmoy, nor do we mention. Do we publicize when a person is experiencing this ailment, my time and why, what's wrong? It's like a flowing, like a spring, and it's uncomfortable to be around people, and therefore keep it under wraps. In fact, why is it called in these terms burdam shu kamayin anaveh? Because it's burdam, a source of dam. Okay, back to the Mishnah. You have a mudar ano, and we have a doctor here who's able to attend to his medical needs. Says the Mishnah, you can do so as long as it's refuas hanefesh, but not refuas haguf. What are these two terms referring to? Echitani, what does the Mishnah mean? Now the Gemara at this point, at the Havamina, as the Ran explains, the Havamina figures that the Chayla is the one who's making the neder against the Reifa. So you got to fight with the Reifa. The Reifa, the doctor, is the mudar. He's on the receiving end of the neder. He cannot benefit from the Chayla. That's the case in the Havamina. Echitani, so what does the Mishnah mean when refuas hanefesh is mutter and not refuas haguf, not refuas mammon? Ilay med refuas nefesh bechinam, refuas mammon beschar. So refuas hanefesh means he's doing it, out of the goodness of his heart. Says the Ran on the top line. Refuas nefesh bechinam. Nefesh means pirush ratzon, will, desire. Kida ashkechan, as we find in the pasuk, that nefesh is synonymous with ratzon. Im yeshes nafshechem, if you will. Kalemar, and the Mishnah means like this: if doctor comes and offers his service voluntarily, that's okay. Kalemar shemerapeh b'ratzon libay, as long as he's not expecting pay, because getting pay is considered getting hamna from the mudar, from the chayla. That's also. V'lei b'schar u'matukim masnis, in the Mishnah speaking. What's the configuration? Who is the mudar? The Reife, the doctor. The Reife can't benefit from the chayla, so if he's coming and doing it for free, that's okay. So refuas hanefesh bechinam, that's mutar. But refuas mammon means beschar, he's expecting pay. Receiving pay is considered hana, that's a chiddush, even though he's offering him a service. So receiving pay is called hana, and that would be asur. Asks the Gemara, if that was the pshat in the Mishnah, then listen, the Mishnah would word it differently. You can offer services for free, but not for pay. Why then does the Mishnah use these words, nefesh and mammon? Ella, rather, let's flip it around. Actually, the chayla is the mudar. He cannot benefit from the doctor. Ella refuas nefesh gufay. So if the chayla, the mudar, himself personally is unwell, the doctor could come and offer his services. And even if there's another doctor in the neighborhood, you never know. Maybe it's bashert. Maybe this doctor is supposed to take care of this patient. The Gemara Rabbi Yehuda tells us an astounding thing. When a person is unwell, it's all tailor-made by Hashem. In fact, it's programmed, pre-programmed, until what day the illness will be there. And once that day arrives, that's sort of the expiry date of that illness. But yoim pleni, b'shah pleni, the illness will dissipate through Raifei pleni and Sam pleni, using this doctor applying this medicine. That's all prescribed, pre-planned, tailored, custom-made. So, yeah, maybe there's another doctor, but if you have the ability to serve him, to tend to his needs, go ahead and do it. You're doing a mitzvah, as long as you're not spending money on him and giving him, medicine directly. But the actual service is a mitzvah, and the Ran brings, it's like Hashavas Aveda. Right? The Gemara says Hashavas Gufay, restoring a person's own health and whatever. That's also called Hashavas Aveda. So that's allowed. Refuas hanefesh means Gufay. You can take care of the chayla personally. That's allowed. Even though it's free of charge, you're not charging. Refuas mammon behemte. But you cannot serve his animal. You can't offer veterinary services to his animal. Even if there's... and the Ran learns, only because there's no other veterinarian around. But otherwise you can do it because that's called Hashavas Aveda. That's the Ran's approach to the sugya. So bottom line is, even if there's another doctor in the area, refuas haguf is mutter, because it's deemed strictly as mitzvah. So you can serve him, you can advise him, you can serve him as a doctor would serve a patient, whether it's an operation or a massage or whatever it is, or concoct his medicine for him. That's allowed because that's a mitzvah. So even if he foregoes pay, a doctor typically can accept pay, although you don't accept pay for mitzvah. But schar batala is mutter. If it's compensation for loss of income. In this case, he's giving that up. It's still mutter, because ultimately it's a mitzvah that he's doing. But refuah is mamin, which means behemtoi. There's another doctor available, and you're offering to serve his animal, to offer medical services to animal. That's usher, free of charge, because the refuah of an animal is not so specific. You don't need a specific doctor for that. So in this case, doing refuah to the behemoth is considered giving him a free service, which is considered hana. But it would seem from the Ran that there's no other doctor in the area, you're allowed to do that, because then it's considered true hashavas aved. Other Rishonim disagree with that. Amar Rav Zutta bar Tovia Amar Rav. Aval, even though we say don't offer refuah to the behemoth, aval oimele, you can still give him verbal advice. Some plenty of law, some plenty of law. This ingredient is good for him. This grass is no good. So dibur, personal advice, verbal advice is not considered a tangible hana, and therefore you can offer that. What else regarding the mudar? So we have two people who are mudar, no one from the other. The madar can bathe together with the mudar in a large bathtub. Not in a small tub, because that would cause the water to rise and be mahana the mudar. And he's allowed to sleep together with him in a bed, even though he adds warmth, which can benefit the other party. Rabbi Yehuda, that's only b'maisachama during summertime, when there's no benefit to added warmth. Avaloi b'maisachshamim, not during wintertime, because he's actually benefiting him by adding that extra body warmth. But he can lie with him on a bed while they're eating. That doesn't constitute hana. And he can share the same table with him. We're not concerned that he'll share his food. The Rosh says, why? Because mistama, soinin zezeb, probably they dislike each other. Why else would they have a neder to keep away from each other? So that preempts any concern of sharing food. Tamchay is this sort of center table dish which the host presents before them. So they shouldn't be sharing the same tamchay, because there's a concern that perhaps the mother will forego, some of his portion, or maybe he'll forego the nicer portion for his friend. That's considered hana. So they can't share the same bowl. But let's say this bowl is large enough and filled to capacity, way beyond what both can eat. So chayzer, meaning the leftovers, goes back to the host. Is too much for them to eat. In that case, no concern, because even if one party holds back, there is more than enough for everybody to eat. Tanya lo yichatz imoy bambati v'lo yashin imoy b'mita, being doyle being tanu divrei Meir. So according to our Meir, we apply the issur to all situations. Not only a small bath would be a problem, even a big bathtub would be a problem. Why? There's a gzeira, because it might lead to doing the same in a small bathtub. The same thing with a bed. Whether it's a small bed or a large bed, in a large bed there is no added hana there. His presence doesn't really add anything to the other party sleeping on the same bed, because it's a large bed, but there's a gzeira atu the ktana. Rabbi Yehuda, no. We have to be very case specific. So he's speaking about the bed. G'doyla b'moisak shamim. So in order for it to be usher to share the same bed, it has to be A, winter time, where warmth is beneficial, and B, it has to be a small sized bed. So if it's lacking any of these two conditions, it's mutter. G'doyla, if it's a large bed, even b'moisak shamim is okay. Uktana, if it's a small one, but it's b'moisak chama during summertime where heat doesn't play a role, mutter, then it's mutter. And likewise, when it comes to sharing the same bathtub, roich, it's imoy b'ambatik g'doyla, if it's a large sized bathtub, in which case the other fellow's presence doesn't really add any significance, so therefore it's mutter. And likewise, if they're just sweating, meaning they're not really taking a wet bath, it's a dry bath, but even in a small bath, it's okay if they share it. Aval mesi v'mayal mita, but they can share the same bed while eating. V'ichlem el shulchan, and share the same table while eating. Aval min atamchay, they can't share the same large bowl. Aval eichel min atamchay chayzer, except if it's going back to the host, meaning it's overladen with a sufficient ample supply for all. Amar Rabbi Chanina, that means min atamchay chayzer lebal abayis. It goes back to the bal bayis because there's so much there, or as the Rush says, he's always refilling it. So in any case, there's no issue of hana. What else? So Avos was a trough, a feeding trough, in which they would put the food for the workers, so they can eat together. Once again, because perhaps he's going to forego some of his to help his friend, in which case he's giving a hana. And likewise, they can't work together along the same patch, because there's a concern that perhaps by digging and loosening the earth, he's going to be helping his friend, making his job easier. So along the same patch they can't work. They can work together provided there's distance between them, the distance apart, in which case he's not really helping him by loosening the earth nearby. All agree that if they're working in close proximity, it's asur, because one may be helping the other one out. The question is if they're at a distance from each other. It's also asur because if you do it at a distance, you might do it close by as well, which is certainly asur. Because he's weakening and loosening the earth before him. As long as it's not nearby, if it's berachik, it's mutter. There's no gzeira atu kariv. Okay, what do we learn about in today's daf? We learned about the galus and the kalim of galus. We learned about how important das is in a person. We learned about refuas haguf, which represents refuas hanefesh and indicates slicha and mechila. We learned about Rabbi Yosef and Rebbe, who forgot their Torah while they were sick, and it was restored by their Talmidim. The nace that a chayil experiences is greater than the Chananim Shel Azariah, when Hashem allows him to repel all the internal germs and attackers. Learned about the Hashgacha Pratis involved in meeting out the Psak and the Mishpat of Hashemayim. We had the Akrav on top of the Tzfardeya, crossing over the river to bring about Hashem's Mishpat. Learned about the sensitivity of Mavaker to the Chayla. And we learned about a Reife applying refuah to a mudar. So conclusion, the refuah's haguf would be mutter, even without pay. That's a true mitzvah. Refuah's behemta would be asur. When there's another doctor in the area, just verbal advice is certainly okay. Bathing in the same ambati, kontra Rameh, always asur. Kontra Rabbi Yehuda, only a small ambati would be a problem. What about sleeping b'mita? Rameh says it's always asur. Rabbi Yehuda says, provided it's b'maisak shamim in a mita ktana, then it's asur and only then. Eating together on a table is mutter. From a tamchu is asur unless it's tamchu achayzer l'balabayis. Eating together in the same avos is asur. Working in the same uman, if it's karev, it's asur rachayk. We have a machlekes. All the best to you and hatzlacha always.